Am I in? Can you guys hear me? Of course. Of course, on the emergency. Okay, you guys got me now? Please tell me you got me. Yes! Okay. It is midnight. It is midnight. And of course, we have an emergency stream. How do you not have an emergency stream when the Ravens make the most uncharacteristic move really in franchise history? So we're after midnight. It's Sarah solo because you guys already know Bobby's up in Vermont having fun at some sort of wedding. But here's the thing, he's insisting that he joins tonight. So from the wedding, he is very hydrated, ladies and gentlemen. I already spoken to him, and I spoke to him hours ago. So who even knows what he's going to be like in just a minute? But this right here is unreal to me. I want your guys' reactions. If we're going to be up after midnight together, if we're going to be up to midnight together, if I'm hype, you need to be hype. And we're going to get it going here after midnight because you already know that the Ravens and Eric DaCosta just went out there and decided, you know what? Forget the picks. Forget the picks. Forget this year's number 14 first round pick. Forget 2027's first round pick. Because you want to know why? Because we're embarrassed after what happened last year. Yes, we moved on from John Harbaugh, but you know what else? We're going to move on from our old ways. And we know that we only have a window for so long. And as Steve Bisciotti said, not just last year, because remember he said he wanted to win now. Then he comes back and he starts making moves. John Harbaugh's out. Jesse Minter's in. Not doing the same old dance. Forget those picks, Steve Bisciotti and Eric DaCosta said, because as Diana Rossini of The Athletic was the first on this, the Baltimore Ravens traded 2 first-round picks for edge rusher Maxx Crosby. I know that we've been watching the Maxx Crosby situation. You guys have seen us covering this situation for the past couple weeks. There's been smoke all over it. And then today I had Femi Ayin. He said, I'm telling you, he goes, whether it's Max or AJ Brown or somebody else we even know about, he said the Ravens are going to be aggressive this season. And boy, oh boy, did they start with a bang. 2 first-round picks. This is the most significant trade in Ravens history, as Brian Wacker of the Baltimore Sun was the first that I saw. Maybe others also had it. This is the first time they've put down 2 first-round picks for a mega star. This is the first time in the organization's 31 years of existence. For the first time in 31 years, they go ahead and bring in a man that can stop the bleeding that's been going on the Ravens defense. And this tweet, if this tweet doesn't say it all about how uncharacteristic, if the first time in 31 years didn't tell you it was uncharacteristic in the first place, how about this? Dan Graziano gets up on Twitter tonight and says, if you had told me the sun was coming up in the west tomorrow, I'd have been less surprised than if you told me the Ravens were trading 2 first-round picks for a player. And you know what this tells me? It tells me the Ravens are all in. The Ravens are all in. What an embarrassment that was last year when the beginning in training camp, everybody's saying the Ravens are Super Bowl contenders. Many people saying the Ravens are my Super Bowl winning pick. And then they didn't even make the playoffs. Now, obviously, Lamar Jackson was injured. But that's not that wasn't the reason why they missed the playoffs. Because he had him in position. Part of it is on coaching, and really the Ravens not winning a Super Bowl, dating all the way back to 2019, and then 2023 they should have had it. But all this time since Terrell Suggs left, they didn't have that guy that could go out and just hunt the opposing quarterback. They didn't have that guy that could make that game-breaking sack, that game-breaking rush that says, we're ending the game now and we're not putting it back on Lamar Jackson's shoulders after he already got us a lead. All those blown fourth quarter leads. You can only stomach it for so long. Trying to find an edge rusher with second rounders, third rounders, whatever. Eric DeCosta hasn't been able to get that guy. Maybe Mike Green will be that guy. And woo! What a guy that he's going to have in the room with him now. A workhorse in Maxx Crosby. A guy that the whole reason why he was on the trading block in the first place is that he was ticked that his team shut him down and put him on IR. And by the way, he ended up having to have surgery on his knee, but he didn't want to quit. This is a guy that was so loyal to the Raiders when they had no chance. They've just been year after year. He's had to rebuild over and over and over again, and he was willing to do it until they took football away from him so that they could secure their number one draft pick. Well, you got your number one draft pick. You got it. But the Ravens have Maxx Crosby. It's not the Raiders anymore. It's clearly true that the Ravens are all in. And Diana Rossini gave some of those details of how this all went down. Remember, we talked about it earlier today. The Dallas Cowboys thought they had this locked up. Trey Wingo reported last night that the Dallas Cowboys thought they had a deal going to get Maxx Crosby to fill in for the trade that they made last year with Parsons up to Green Bay. And then Trey Wingo said that at the last minute, a couple teams came through. And Diana Rossini said one of those teams to watch is the Ravens. Listen, I'll be the first to admit, I was like, is this agent speak again? because the Ravens have been used a few times to raise the price for others. Well, not this time. This time, where there was smoke, there indeed was fire. Diana Rossini says both the Baltimore Ravens and the Dallas Cowboys had been working on this for days. They kept communication with the Raiders. The Jacksonville Jaguars were another team trying to put together a big trade package that would get it done. Says Diana, the Ravens win. How many times have we heard about almost Ravens? We always say if the Ravens get into a bidding war, they've lost. They're not going to win because Eric DeCosta and the Ravens don't operate that way. They put out what they feel like is a fair market deal. And if another team comes in, forget about it. Because there are other teams that are willing to pony up, not the Ravens. Not anymore. And Jeff Zrebiec, how did this all go down? Well, guess what? All the entire the Ravens brass is down in Florida right now, Jupiter, Florida, as they do every year. Got moved back a little bit this year because of the coaching search. But Jeff said they're all down there with Steve Bisciotti right now. They're all down there. He said they'll exit the meetings with a game-changing pass rusher. It's just like, I could just all imagine in the room, because Diana also revealed in some of her reporting that the Ravens were not at 2 first-round draft picks earlier today. Not yesterday, not there earlier today. And then all those guys in the same room, Steve Bisciotti, Eric DeCosta. I wonder if Ozzie Newsome's back down there. I don't know. Mateo. All those guys are down there. So it was a collective decision. It was a collective decision. And I think Steve Bisciotti's just tired of it. And I talked about this earlier today. The window is now. If you can get this extension done with Lamar, you can get a good cap hit, but you're going to be pushing a lot of money into the future. It's going to hurt in the future. It's going to hurt when his cap is skyrocketing because that's how the Ravens are structuring it. It's going to hurt when you don't have another first-round draft pick this year. But tonight it doesn't hurt. Tonight it feels like the Ravens are all in. Tonight it feels like the Ravens are saying, you know what? We're tired of wasting away this generational quarterback's career. 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022. It's just, you can almost see like it's a movie. The calendar is just flipping. 23, you have a home AFC championship game. 24, 25, he's a two-time MVP. 25, everybody's calling you the Super Bowl favorite. And then you don't even make the playoffs. Steve Bisciotti has been saying it 2 years in a row now. I want to win the Super Bowl right now. And I think it's Steve who's behind all this. I think it's Steve who's saying, let's go do this while we can. Woo! I got a lot of super chats. You know what? I'm going to get you guys right now. Let's do this. At WTSY52, he says, I'm smiling and I can't feel my face right now. And he says, yes, Sarah, I love it. And I know this because he reached out to me at Twitter earlier today and said he couldn't feel his face. And I said, but do you love it? And he had to reply, yes, I love it. So appreciate you. Thank you for the super chat. Pop Punk Cowboy, a show during work hell. He got me cursing. Heck yeah. He says hashtag F them pics. I hate it when I do that when I'm reading you guys' tweets before I can edit them. Rafiki says Ravens are all in. Let's go. And we're going to talk about this more. I guarantee I know there's questions with you guys about whether or not this is really all in or if this is the only move. You don't go out and get Maxx Crosby and mortgage your future with not just your number 14 first round pick, but your 2027 pick if this is the only move you're going to make. The Ravens aren't going to make this and say, well, we don't have enough for a guard. Well, we don't have enough for the rest of the defensive line. We don't have enough to keep Tyler Linderbaum here. We don't have enough. No, you don't mortgage your future to just go like halfway all in. That's not all in. That's half in. I mean, it's a big move, obviously, but you still got to put a wall around Lamar Jackson. Because if you go out there and put down 2 first-round draft picks and then don't protect Lamar Jackson, what did you do it all for anyway? Just letting your franchise quarterback be a sitting duck. Ravens aren't done. Cool Kingdom says it's a new era in Baltimore. I'm so here for it. LFG. Diana says, just for doing this at midnight, go Ravens. Thank you, Diana. I will tell you, half my house is asleep, but half is not. I've got some teenagers. When I tell you I saw this news come down, we were just getting back from dinner. We went out to dinner as a family tonight. And we're, just hanging out. And all of a sudden, I see Diana's tweet come up. And my 16-year-old son, he's the biggest Ravens fan in this house besides me. I am screaming his name. He had to excuse himself to use the restroom. Gardner, get down here. It was just unreal. So thank you for that, Diana. My whole household was definitely happy. Let's see. I wish Bobby was here to pronounce these names. Anaya or Anaizi. Bobby's better at these. Anay. He says, you best believe I'm hyped. Sorry, I just butchered your name. Sorry about that. Laura also says, F them draft picks. That's exactly what they did tonight. But Luca Dan says, turn us up, Sarah, and give me Drunk Bobby. Drunk Bobby, if he doesn't forget about it, if he doesn't get too caught up in his festivities, he will be here. He basically said, send me that link. So he'll be in here in just a minute. Steve says, Bolden trade is right behind as the next trade. Yeah, I mean, the Ravens have given up more draft capital, but I mean, Bolden was that trade that made a massive deal. It had a massive impact on going to the Super Bowl. Ravens don't win that Super Bowl without Anquan Bolden and Joe Flacco's historic run. But again, I don't know that Joe Flacco was on a historic run without Bolden. Let's see. Minister of God 7. Nice. He says, what this is saying also is that Lamar's extension is in the bag. I tend to agree with that. Edwin in the house says, I have zero issues with this. Dang right he's worth this. I know there may be a cap thing to work out long term, but I love this. Swing for the fence. Yeah, the cap hit is one thing. It's not the worst. I mean, Marlowe's making right up there with what he's going to be making from the Ravens. Obviously, he made his money from the Raiders. The Raiders are going to have to take their dead money. So he's up there with Marlowe, but he's going to have a bigger impact. Just a huge impact. Let's see here. T. Nargo says, Sarah Solo is my goat. You are my goat. Here we go. Let's keep this moving. Kobe's in the house. Sarah, it's with great humility that I come to the carpet tonight to admit I was wrong. You were right, he said. You believed Maxx would be a Raven when I didn't. Maxx takes Minter's scheme to the next level. Oh my goodness, does it ever. Here's the thing. With Minter, his defense is not all that different than what we saw with the Seahawks, which is you got to get pressure with 4. You got to have strong, hard edges. Now, did I know for a fact they would get Maxx? No, but Femi, let me just give credit where credit is due. Femi came out and pounded his chest much harder than I did. Okay. Whoever he's talking to is frequently steering him right. Frequently. And today, remember, he predicted the trifecta. He said the Ravens would announce, he feels like the contract extension with Lamar Jackson is already done and they'll announce it when they need the money. They're going to need it come Wednesday morning when the new league year hits. So it wouldn't surprise me if the Lamar Jackson extension is announced Monday or Tuesday. Maybe Wednesday morning. When exactly does it start? Usually it's 4:00 on Tuesdays. I got to get the exact right time. But Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, there's a good chance that would be announced. But that was Femi Amadejao saying that he thinks it could already be done, but they'll announce it when they need the money. Then he said the Ravens will still extend Tyler Linderbaum. Then he added that the Ravens would make a tier 1 addition, whether that was through trade or signing. Well, I thought the tier 1 trade or signing was the least likely of his trifecta prediction to come true. And yet here we are. It's the first domino to fall. So I appreciate your credit to me, Kobe, but I got to give it up to Femi. But I will say, and I got pushback today when I put together Lamar Jackson's tweets. You know, his one with SpongeBob. Here, I've got it over here. Let me pull it up real quick. This one right here. So I put this up this morning. Let me take you down for a second, Kobe, or this afternoon after the show. Because Lamar Jackson tweeted the Denzel Washington training day GIF with the word boom. And he's got that smiley emoji, which a lot of people were reminded of when he did the SpongeBob meme back in 2023 with that same smiley emoji, which is 2 days before he was signed. Boom feels a little bit more explosive. So I put the two together. Now, whether that means Lamar's extension is still coming, I believe it will. I can't imagine they're going to do, or they're going to do all those void years. Either way, they're going to be making some cost savings moves, but I'm inclined to believe Femi Amadejao when he confidently says that the extension is ready to go. And so I got pushback from, what's his name? What's that account's name? Ian Hartitz or whatever. He's got like 215,000 followers. And he responds to me with one of Lamar Jackson's stories that says, sometimes I just post a GIF to see what people will do. And I know that Lamar Jackson likes to troll, but given that we follow this team 24/7, and given what Femi Amedejo was telling us today, I didn't put that up haphazardly. Okay. Sometimes you can tell when it's not a troll. And boy, oh boy, does Denzel Washington saying, boom, is that not fit for the news that came a few hours later with Maxx Crosby? Absolutely fitting for the day, for the news. Thank you, Kobe. Tasia, I really need my glasses. Did I bring my glasses in here? I sure did not. This is going to be a struggle. See, this is what happens when you do an emergency pod. Your audio is out when you first start. You don't bring your reading glasses. So bear with me on this. She says, we have the best player in the world. Why do we need first round picks? Give them up for a bona fide pass rusher. Do it. And EDC, we trust he did it. Well, I'm telling you what, it is taking a page out of the LA Rams script. What was that? What was that number we showed today? Something like they've traded their first round pick in something like 9 out of the last 10 years or 8 out of the last 9, something crazy. And they keep showing up in the postseason. They keep showing up deep into the postseason. Woo. I'm still a little bit in shock. Even though I knew the Ravens were being more aggressive, even when Femi was like, this Maxx Crosby thing is certainly a possibility, even then, I'm still a little bit shocked because it's so uncharacteristic. Action says, the trolls are in here at midnight. Flock, we are so up right now. I'm only seeing the super chat, so I don't see the trolls. I'm actually happy not to. Juice says the Ravens aren't being cheap no more. God is good. And then he's got the crying emoji. Here's Kobe is back. He says this deal only gets done with the head coach that has a defined philosophy. It's not something you do under Harbs when defensive schemes can change from year to year. Go get a vet defensive tackle and unleash the 4-man rush. You know what? Should I do this now? Because you're talking about a defensive tackle. Listen, some people got after our guy, Bobby Trosset, for when he was down at the combine. And he reported that just Nnamdi Madubuike is not retiring. And there's a strong possibility that he would be back this year, 2026. We already know that Madubuike posted that tweet a while back where he puts in all caps, good news. Well, you want to know what's even better? Do you want to know what's even better than Bobby's report from somebody that he believes is a very credible source? Do you want to know what's even better than a tweet that says good news? How about this video that he posted to his Instagram stories tonight? How about this? Oh, okay. That for those that are on audio only, he is taking a medicine ball and he is slamming it into the ground. If this isn't the best view we've seen yet, I said earlier today, I feel like Madubuike is itching to let us know. I feel like Madubuike is itching to let us know that he's not done. Now, he's going to have some hurdles to clear, I'm sure. He's going to have to go through OTAs, some non-contact stuff, a little bit more contact, stuff like this that he's doing right now. And they'll have a plan, and they'll have hurdles that he'll have to clear before he's allowed to take on the next hurdle. But does this look like a man whose career is over? Because it doesn't to me. It doesn't look like somebody to me that went and had surgery. I mean, if he did, it would have been minor. So, Kobe, to your point, Go get yourself a defensive tackle. What if you already have him? What if he's going to be good to go? This is insanity. That today we get a Maxx Crosby trade news, and Matabike's like, oh, and guess what? Look who might be out there. We've talked so much about how Nnamdi Matabike opens things up for the edge rushers. I mean, are we even imagining this defense right now? Jesse Minter and his defense? Back to Kobe's point right here. When you have a head coach who skyrocketed up the ranks because of his defensive mind, who everybody's calling the next Mike McDonald, who has that philosophy and has to have those edges. And so before you're already like, okay, well, now the Ravens had to manufacture a lot of pass rush last year. Jesse Minter can manufacture it among the best of all of them. But manufacturing isn't even going to be necessary very often if you've got Maxx Crosby on one side, you've got the up and coming Mike Green on the other side, you've got Travis Jones in the middle, and maybe Nnamdi Matabike's on his way back. And I haven't even mentioned Kyle Hamilton and that he can roam up to the line of scrimmage. Do you even need a big name corner when you got Mike Green and Maxx Crosby, Justin Matabike, Travis Jones, and who knows where Derek Hamilton's going to be, and your head coach is defensive coordinator Jesse Minter? Woo! Let's keep these super chats rolling. Shante Holland says, I was jumping up and down on my couch when I saw the news. Hashtag LFG, hashtag Maxx Crosby, hashtag F them picks. Christopher's in the house. We pulled the pin, he says. Starting defense. Place at the table. Dropping QBs off at the train station. Let's go. Let's go. Speaking of dropping people off, hold on a second. I got somebody in the waiting room, but let's finish off these super chats really quick. I wonder who it could be. Who could be in the waiting room right now? King AM says that Lamar extension is going to feed streets. Then just a nice donation from GR00. Thank you so much. Kobe Pruitt again. Max and Nnamdi news on the same day. We eating today. Oh, wait, there's so many more super chats. Okay, we're going to have to put a little pin in that for a second. Just a little pin. Take this off. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I cannot promise you anything. I do not know what we're going to get. All I know is at 9 o'clock, I think that's when we talked, maybe 9:30, this guy was hydrated for sure. He was hydrated. We're now at 12:34 a.m. He's still partying at this family wedding. I accept no responsibility for what could come out of this man's mouth. Bobby, what is going on? So guaranteed, if one of us leaves town, there's massive breaking news. I was out of town. John Harbaugh is fired. You're out of town. Maxx Crosby is a Raven. What say you, sir?
Well, you got to leave game night, post-wedding game night. There's a massive competition going on downstairs. I'm team 3. We're in the lead right now, but I couldn't leave you on an island. When a team that you've known for multiple decades, and I have for close to a decade, deviates from what we've known to become the norm and has been the norm for years and years and years, it's heart stopping. It's jarring. It's like totally unrecognizable. And the fact that it happens in the first season without John Harbaugh, I don't know if that's more ironic or just stunning. I mean, this is beyond comprehension. And yes, to your point, for whatever reason, the NFL calendar does something to us. Thank you for taking care of business tonight. The Ravens have the most significant game record since Terrell Suggs. And perhaps this is the piece that's been missing. They still have work to do, as we've covered all offseason. But there's a new regime in Baltimore, and apparently with that new regime comes new philosophies and a new level of aggression, Sarah, that we have not seen since they went up and got Lamar 8 years ago.
Okay, so you mentioned totally agree with all of that. And you are sounding very professional right now. I am very, very impressed so far. I am very impressed. We'll get more about your surroundings in just a second. You mentioned John Harbaugh. I have a feeling it has more to do with just being ironic. I don't know that John Harbaugh would be like, hey, don't trade for Maxx Crosby, right? In fact, more than anything, I bet he's reacting similarly. I don't know if you've seen it, but Zach Orr's brother tweeted something to the effect, now you get Maxx Crosby? Now? And I imagine John Harbaugh's got to be feeling the same way. Like, what the heck, Steve? What the heck, EDC? You never gave me a pass rusher like that after Suggs left.
The reactions are going to be endless. They're going to be absolutely endless. And you and I both remember what he did week 2 just a couple of years ago in Baltimore. That was a disappointing start to the season. It was a disappointing game itself. Sarah, in no way, you don't need anybody.
6 tackles, 4 for loss, 2 sacks. These days right here, look at Lamar's eyes. He is getting pummeled right there, just looking where he's going to land with Maxx Crosby's helmet in his chest. These days are over, Bobby.
Max is you can talk about the age, the miles on tires, blah, 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 all you want. I can't imagine you can give a player more than what Max now has at his disposal, and that is a chance. He hasn't had a chance to play winning football in Vegas for years. And as someone who has a podcast, as Max does, he's one of the more visible front-facing players in the league, not just because of his resume, but because of how often he is in front of a microphone. And he's made it pretty darn clear that loyalty for a long time, he's put loyalty first for a long time. He's entrusted that organization for a long time. And so I'd have to think that the fact that he's not taking this lightly, the fact that he now leaves Vegas and goes to a place of high function. He leaves dysfunction and finds himself now with a brand new opportunity. He's the face of the defense alongside Kyle Hamilton. He's got a player that maybe because of his tweets, maybe this was related to the Crosby news, but we know that Lamar is already having fun on social media. Could that be extension related as well? We'll have to wait and see. But I know you continue to be optimistic and
they got to do something now before Wednesday.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Because to clear room for all of this, they had $20 million going in. That's not enough. I'll just show you the numbers right here. I mean, unless they have a new deal coming, but Spot Rack has it 2026. His cap hit's going to be 30.7.
Right. So, in other words, what more motivation does Lamar need? and who knows, Sarah? Maybe the deal's already done. Right. It was just this offseason. Anything's possible this offseason, and anything appears to be possible now with Jesse Minter in Baltimore. Is this the reason why this happened? Jesse's hiring? Who knows? But clearly times have changed. And more so than anything else, Sarah, the window is now. I'm Eric DaCosta. I'm throwing all my chips to the middle. We have got to do this now, because this move in the future comes with major risk down the line, years down the line. But this is saying loudly and clearly and decisively, we need a Lombardi within the next 2 years.
Yeah.
And we're throwing everything in the middle of the table, all the chips. And that obviously comes with Lamar continuing to stay healthy, getting an extension done, and filling that void at guard and blah, blah, blah. But this is, since you and I started doing this, aside from Lamar's extension 3 years ago, what's more significant than this?
There really isn't. I think we're completely on the same page. Like, you can't mortgage the future, because it's going to hurt in a couple years. The next 2 years are going to be thrilling, absolutely thrilling. It's going to hurt a little bit after that. And so, to your point, you can't sign Maxx Crosby and say, sorry, we didn't have enough left over for Linderbaum and a guard. No, that's half in while mortgaging your future. If you're going to mortgage your future, you got to be all in. So Linderbaum and a veteran guard has to follow.
Yes.
And I don't know, Bobby, because you've been at the wedding. You saw Nnamdi Madubuike's story today, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Hey,
I feel pretty good about Indy.
You feel really good about Indy. You probably didn't hear it, but Femi came to your aid today because he was ticked. He didn't know that you were getting like some flack on Twitter for putting that out there. And he's like, what? Nah, he's like, that's completely fine. He's like, what do people think we do? This is what we do.
That's cool.
We try to go get this information. And it was like, I made the point. I was like, if he needed to announce that his season or his career was over, then yeah, like let him have that announcement, right? But like, this is good news, and he's already been trying to tell us with his good news tweet, and now this. I mean, what's just a beautiful day that I just went from a screenshot of Maxx Crosby as a Raven, and then this right here, looking like a madman, smashing that medicine ball against the cement. That does not look like a guy that's going to retire next year, Bobby, as you reported last week or 2 weeks ago. I don't even know anymore.
Looks like a guy that's got some sturdiness with that neck.
Yeah.
That's a pretty decent sized medicine ball right there. So, Sarah, everybody's coming up from the basement. The bride is coming up here. We're getting ready to shut it down for the night. I couldn't not pop on, depending on how long you go. Who knows? I have the guest link, so we'll see how long you go. But I appreciate you. I know Trevor is home right now, so send him my best. And thanks to everybody who spent late night time with us. I mean, there were a lot of people in the collective tonight. There's a ton of people in here tonight. And you just love the support on a Friday night, now Saturday morning, technically. So thank you. Have a great rest of the show, and you and I will catch up after.
Hey, have a blast tonight. Have a blast. Tell your entire family I say hello.
All right. Sounds good. See you guys.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
I still can't even believe this is happening right now. We're at 12:43. I got more super chats to go through because you guys seem to be just as hype as me and Bobby right now. Here we go. I think this is where because I did Kobe, and now we're up on Jose, who says, as long as the trenches on both sides of the ball are fixed, even better backups would be key. A bigger receiver and a lockdown corner will help us as well. Whimsical Purple Gnome says Crosby's cap hit this year's reportedly $7 million. Hashtag in EDC we trust. Well, I don't know what that report is yet. I'm sure they could easily restructure it into $7 million. Right now, as it stands with the Ravens pickup, is what I just showed you here with Spot Rack. This is what was remaining from what the Raiders already paid, their signing bonuses and all that was prorated throughout his contract. So right now, as it stands, he's 30.7, but then it starts to go down, 29.7, then 27.2, then 28.2. So yes, they could do a simple restructure and maybe get him down to 7 million. So you could do that. It could be Lamar's extension. I don't think you need to do both, but you certainly can. You certainly can. Let's see here. Where do we leave off? Darius Williams says, I'm hecka selfish. Get me Rashawn Gary and Mafe. Yeah, I'm sure we're all going to be selfish because, like you said, the Ravens are all in. Per mount. Kobe didn't like it when I called it a GIF. He wants me to call it a GIF, but the G stands for graphics. So GIF. That's where I'm at. I think I'm going to stick with it. Nuno says, finally an elite pass rush. The corners will no longer need to cover for 4 seconds. Drunk Bobby coming? Let's go. Were you guys as surprised as me? I thought Bobby was like, I don't know, be very professional. Very professional. Very different from when I talked to him a couple hours ago. Well, not that he was bad then. The word pimp says the bullies of Baltimore are back. I mean, I tell you what, if Nomney's back with Crosby, woo, woo. And I better see Roquan return to form. So I'm gonna need that next. Kamal Porter says Orioles got Pete Alonso, Ravens got Maxx Crosby. All right, both the birds making moves. Incognito says Minter told EDC stop hoarding draft picks like smug hoards treasure. A new era. Hood Harbaugh has been exiled. So saith I, the Sea King. There we go. The Sea King is back. The Sea King is back. Well, it could be part mentor. I definitely think it is part mentor with his defense. I also think it's just that Steve Bisciotti is like, now's the time. Now's the time. Fergie with a 20 spot. You guys are being generous tonight. All of you guys. I love it. I love it when good things happen. We all become happier. We're just a community tonight. Fergie says, Miss G.D. Ellison out here doing the Lord's work late at night. See, I knew that there'd be an audience at this time. It is almost 1 a.m. We're on about 2,300 concurrents right now at nearly 1 a.m. See, but I knew the news came down when you guys were all out on Friday night, but now you're all coming home. And so now it's time to celebrate. Because that's what was going on with me. We were out and about and just barely getting home. BME 612 says EDC turning heel. This is unprecedented. Watch him extend LJ, rework others, sign Tyler Linderbaum, and trade for AJ before Monday. I think they are out for blood. I do think a lot of that can happen, but I think AJ is now out. You no longer have the draft capital to go get AJ. I mean, I guess you could if it was what I proposed, which was a second and Rashad Bateman, then I guess you could, but then you got to get his cap. I think listen, the Ravens still got moves to make. But it's got to be along the offensive line for sure. I think AJ Brown is out. I don't think I'm crazy for saying that. But you know what? It's almost 1 a.m. Why should I be turning down dreams right now? We can do that on Monday. Okay, we can return to reality on Monday, although we still might be hyped then too. There's no promises. Kobe is back. He says everything changed when Steve said, it's a shame what happened to our friend, like a mob boss. With all the subtext included. Finally, we got some urgency. That's exactly what it is. It is urgency. Raven Pride 70 says AFC North, and to the rest of the NFL, be afraid. Be very, very afraid, he says. Kobe says, pray for Joe Burrow. Woo! Now, I don't wish injury on anybody. He's been very injury prone. But, oh yeah. See, I'm already seeing it. I'm already envisioning it. Is Aaron Rodgers going to be back? Let me tell you something. Joe Burrow, Aaron Rodgers. I don't know if it's going to be Shador or Watson or plug in another guy that they take from the draft. Aaron Rodgers, I want you to re-sign with the Pittsburgh Steelers. I said it before Maxx Crosby was here, and now I'm saying it again. Please re-sign with the Steelers. Ravens need a redo, okay? Ravens made Aaron Rodgers look like he was his MVP self back in the teens, okay? The 20 teens. I mean, Aaron Rodgers couldn't get a dang thing done against the Browns and Myles Garrett, of course, and company. And then the Ravens were just letting him carve them up. I want a redo with Maxx Crosby, Nnamdi Madubuike, and Jesse Minter. And Joe Burrow, yes, we're coming for you too. Don't wish injury upon anybody, but I do want them running for their lives. I want them throwing picks. I want them fumbling the ball. All of it. All of it. Fergie's back says, Bobby has the gall to leave our precious Jeff Zrebeck alone with Cole and then show up here. I don't even know if Bobby was invited over there. You're going to have to ask Jay-Z and Cole. Who knows? Who knows? And my goodness, 50 spot in the house. Crypto. Oh, see, I don't do Ma the meatloaf like Bobby does. But that's what would be called for here. Crypto in the house with the 50 spot. Everybody is hyped tonight. He says, didn't think they would do it, but shout out to the Ravens for saying F them picks. And let's get this chip now. Love you, Sarah and Bobby. Miss you guys during the day, but happy to catch you and the Voltrons at night. Not the same old Ravens. Burrow is big mad. Big mad. Well, we're big happy. We are big happy. Crypto, I still can't even believe it happened. I still can't even believe it happened. Thank you for your generosity. The Sea King is back, saying Mike Green going to be eaten like Diane Keaton. Mike Green is going to be one of the biggest beneficiaries of this trade. I do think Lamar Jackson's a big beneficiary. He still needs to get a line around him. But my goodness, to not have to close, to just like come from behind or lose leads. But Mike Green is just, if Nnamdi Madubuike and Maxx Crosby are out there, Green's going to eat. Meanwhile, you still have Tavius Robinson, who will do dirty work, steal the edge, which Maxx can do also. Maxx does it all. Maxx is not just a pass rusher. Maxx will be out there nonstop. Let's go. Good, great point from the Sea King. Trill Will says, I am super excited about this one for sure. Now on to Lamar extension and hopefully signing Lindy. LFG Flock Nation, hashtag let EDC cook. Kobe Pruitt is back. He says not worried about Max's age. He's currently signed through the end of his prime, and players like Mac and Jordan prove you can be successful in your mid-30s. How about KVN? How about the fact that Kyle Van Noy had 12 and a half sacks, not last year, but the year before? We're 1 year removed from Kyle Van Noy getting 12 and a half. Maxx Crosby is 28 years old. 4 years? So you got until he's 32? That's perfectly fine. Perfectly fine. Suggs played well into those years. And then he won, and then he went. I mean, KVN, how old is KVN? Did you guys see, by the way, earlier today, Kyle Van Noy's tweet? He said it was his last weekend as a Raven. It was a classy tweet. But he said it was the last week as a Raven. He said he hoped he could return. I wonder what Kyle Van Noy is thinking right now. Kyle Van Noy is 34. So when he put up 12 and a half sacks, he was 32. You're going to have Maxx Crosby through the age 32. He's going to be fine. He's going to be fine. Okay. Oceans says, luckily Orr isn't here to ruin Crosby, LMAO. Tyler Burke says we can restructure Maxx contract to $7 million cap hit this year. Thanks, Tyler. You're another person that said that. Yeah, you can restructure it. You're gonna push stuff back. Here it is right here. Here's how it is right now. 30.7, 29.7, 27.2, 28.2. It'd be nice if they could keep that somewhat flat and use more of a Lamar extension. But we'll see. Or I'll just say you could maybe restructure it, but not go max to the 7 to bring it all the way down to 7 million. Because I do think the Ravens are gonna have plenty of money with this Lamar extension. My guy from Columbus who just met up with Bobby at the combine. The Trey KC7 says, let's go. The guy I met, Bobby, the guy at the combine, said, just watch what happens with the eyeball emojis yesterday. Okay, so the guy I met, the guy at the combine said, just watch what happens. Okay. Are you saying you and Bobby met a guy that said, just watch what happens? Woo. See, people knew that the Ravens were going to be aggressive this time around. Boy, oh boy, I really wish I had my glasses. Sitla Rio. I'm sorry. I'm gonna butcher this. I'm gonna call it Sit. So she says, "Do we think EDC trades back into the first round?" That you don't really have the draft capital to do that. You'd have to trade a player. So, people talk about Bateman. I don't think you're going to get a first out of him. You'd have to package him with something else. I think it'd be really tough to do, to go from 45 back in the first round. But here's the thing. From what I hear all around the league, and I have been studying the draft. You guys know what we do. We focus on the Ravens. So from the draft people that I listen to, people aren't super high on this draft class. In fact, I was watching Rich Eisen saying that going into it, he's like, man, I'm going to have to figure out how to make, lemonade out of these lemons going into it, knowing he had to cover it. Now it was better than he was anticipating. Daniel Jeremiah says the sweet spot is more in the second round where the Ravens are already at. I honestly don't know that the Ravens make this move if they felt like this was like an incredible draft class. Although I already know that I have to kiss my dreams goodbye for Venga Ioane. I've been practicing his name thinking he'd be a Raven, but we got to kiss that dream goodbye. And so the Ravens are going to have to spend and get a veteran guard. There could be other guys in the second round too. But no, I don't think they're going to get back in the first round. Blogger 16100 said, would this be a bust if we don't win within 2 years? Yes. Yes. Absolutely it would be. You have Maxx Crosby and Lamar Jackson on the same team, and Derrick Henry and Kyle Hamilton and Nnamdi Madubuike. Yeah, that would be a bust. That would be considered a bust. Last year I said it was going to be a Super Bowl bust. John Harbaugh rejected that. I wanted him to embrace it. He didn't. And they didn't have a pass rusher like they got now this year. It would be a bust. Anai says, I wonder if LA is picking up some of the money. The Raiders are picking up dead money, yes. But the money I just showed there is the amount that the Ravens take on after the Raiders already took some of their money. And it's Las Vegas. I think he meant Las Vegas. Riley says, definitely no AJ. And I'm fine with that because of Max. Go try to give the Bills little to nothing. Oh, we were talking about Burrow. We were talking about Aaron Rodgers. Yeah. Go get Josh Allen. Go get Josh Allen. I mean, he would just have all the time in the world to have his comebacks against the Ravens. Go get him. Go try to give the Bills a little to nothing for Keon. Okay, sorry. You were talking about getting Keon Coleman. I started thinking go get Josh Allen, meaning sack him and don't let him have all the time in the world. But Riley's saying go try to get Keon Coleman. Would you be opposed? Again, yeah, I'm slightly opposed. Listen, maybe the Ravens are going to do it all. My priorities have been clear. The trenches on defense, starting with the edge rusher. And they've done it with Maxx Crosby. And by the way, you're not going to see them. They're not going to use a premium pick to augment the pass rusher room. You've got it. Mike Green and Crosby's your guy. You've got Tavius Robinson, maybe a decent Isaac. You might go sign a guy for a veteran minimum. I don't know. Maybe you use like a late round pick. But pass rusher is essentially done in terms of big money. Maybe you get some insurance at defensive tackle, just in case, even though Nnamdi's looking pretty good. But now you got to look at the interior offensive line. And again, we talked earlier today about A.J. Brown. And me and Femi both said, hey, that's not necessarily my highest priority, right? The wide receiver position for sure needs to be augmented through the draft because Zay Flowers is in his final year of his contract. I mean, you hear that they're going to exercise his 5th-year option. That's going to be a lot of money too. So they're going to have to clear for that. But so you're going to have to start rebuilding with some youth in there. But I'm more like, go pick up, we talked about it today, go pick up Mike Evans. Go do something like that. Go get a guy who is the prototypical Ravens aging wide receiver this time around, who can just be that red zone guy, can climb a ladder and just get that ball, pluck that ball out of the air. And maybe you can do more with wide receiver, but to me, than what I'm proposing right now. But to me, it's still trench work. Trench warfare is where this thing is going to be done. So I'm more on that kind of Mike Evans train, unless you trade Bateman, and then that kind of resets the conversation there. Warpath says, Mike Evans, Sutton, Cheetah? Almost like right on click Q. You just heard me say I would do Mike Evans. Laura says, Burrow going to be seeing ghosts, just like Sam Darnold did. The Sea King is back. Bring in Tyreek on the cheap. Super Bowl. He's not what he was, but he and Zay would be quite the duo. Quite the duo. Kobe is back saying, underrated stat. Max is rated number 1 on run plays. That's why I'm saying he's not just an edge rusher. And he definitely is that. But he will seal the edges. He will take care of the run for sure. Kobe says LJ with on the low end 50% more short fields. Good Lord. That's true. Think of Lamar getting punts his way. And then they start at the 40, the 35, the 45. Set away back the 20, 25, 15, who knows what. Sea King says, my dog Puddin would be better than Fa'alele. SMH. It's going to be upgraded at the right guard position. We already know. It would be hard not to upgrade based off of what we saw last year. Who's this? Shantae Holland says, if we lose Draymond Jones, do you still think we can get Trey Hendrickson? No, you're not getting Trey Hendrickson after you got Maxx Crosby. Blogger says, if Venga is gone, thoughts on Oregon's Greg Pregnon in the second. Yeah, I'm here for it. There's a couple guys whose names I'm forgetting me, but I do think the Ravens are gonna still draft a guard, but I also think they're gonna sign a veteran guard. Yeah, but Venga wasn't the only one. He was just the best. I like how we're already talking about him in the past tense like he's gone. He's definitely gone. He's not going to be there at 45. Yes, there will be other guards that you can get in the second round. Trey says, yeah, Bobby was tired from the night before. The guy we met was an agent that was friends with Crosby's agent. Me and Bobby didn't know who he was. Oh, okay. Well, and he knew Crosby was going to be dealt. Maybe he just didn't know it was going to be to the Ravens, obviously, because it seemed like Dallas was leading the way almost just as much as a couple days ago. Then the Sea King is back. Why do we keep getting wide receivers over a century old? Well, let's become the Ravens way, Sea King. Let's become the Ravens way. Woo. Okay. So we have just caught up on Super Chats. Appreciate you guys being here. Just under 2,500 of you concurrently with me in the off season on the eve of free agency at 1:04 a.m. 1:04 a.m. Let me just make sure that I've unloaded everything that I have here. Let's see here. We went through this. What do I got here? Yeah, I tweeted this earlier tonight. Ravens finally fed up with not being able to get pressure on opposing quarterbacks and closing out wins that Lamar Jackson, the offense, would gain. Going into the fourth quarter, Maxx Crosby helps change that 12 blown leads of 7 points or more in the fourth quarter since 2021. Woof. Woof. Maxx Crosby will indeed help that. And by the way, we have these numbers on Maxx Crosby. He's number 1 in tackles for loss. This is all since 2019 when he came into the league. This is when he entered the league. Since he entered the league in 2019, number 1 in tackles for loss, number 1 in solo tackles, number 2 in quarterback pressures, number 2 in quarterback hits, number 3 in total tackles, number 4 in batted passes, number 5 in sacks at 69.5, traded to the Baltimore Ravens. Woo! That's what you're getting there. And by the way, remember he was injured and he had to get the knee and then they shut him down even though he felt like he could keep playing. He still had double-digit sacks. The Ravens had a total of, as a team, a total of 30 sacks. So this graphic that I have right here are all 32 teams ranked by the amount of sacks that they had. Ravens had 30, which puts them at, I think they were like, I want to say like the 12 to 15 range. That's not going to do it when your calling card is defense. That's not going to do it. I still can't get over Mentor, Crosby, Kyle together, and maybe Nnamdi. Just look at all their faces together. That's a defense right there. Now you are going to have to get another running mate with Roquan. Femi had two suggestions earlier today. Because Buchanan isn't going to be ready week 1 most likely. Trenton Simpson, I don't know how much you can trust it. That's a solid defense. Solid defense if Nnamdi is healthy again, which we just went over. Okay, we've done all this. Okay, I think I made it through. Woo! An hour-long emergency stream starting at midnight through 1 a.m. I still can't believe it happened. But it did. And it's new era in Baltimore. And I don't think they're done. You heard Femi's trifecta. We're going to leave it on this. His trifecta predictions. Tier 1 edition. Check. Maxx Crosby. Lamar Jackson extension announced when they need the money. Probably early next week. Number 3, Lindy returns. We'll see if Femi's right. There's no way they're done. And I think there's going to be a veteran guard. Coming in free agency. I think it's coming. No way you can mortgage the future with those 2 first-round picks and all this cap space and not really go all in. Build the wall of Lamar. Guys, we're going to leave it right there. Who knows what's going to happen? I was about to say I'll see you Monday at noon. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. It's only Saturday morning at 1 a.m. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. I don't know what's going to happen Sunday. So just be ready. Put your notifications on, is what I'm telling you. Put your notifications on. Who knows if there's going to be another emergency stream. I got to go to bed, though. You know what I got tomorrow? I have so much basketball tomorrow. My girls, one of my girls decided to join a 3-on-3 league. So she's got 3 games tomorrow. My other little girl, she made the all-star team for her basketball league. So did my oldest son, my 16-year-old in his league. So anyway, basketball all day tomorrow. You know I got to get up early, which means I got to go to bed. Maxx Crosby is a Baltimore Raven. Like the video. Subscribe if you can. Join as a member. I appreciate everybody that was here with me tonight. Thank you, everybody, for your super chats. So helpful. Such a good way for us to continue to keep the show running every single day. Much love to you guys. See you soon. Monday, emergency pod? We don't know.